Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new episode from Berlin, Germany. Today we're going to explore the city a little bit, and what better place to start rather than at the Berlin Wall, one of the most significant pieces of Berlin and one of the most significant parts of my lifetime. The Berlin Wall fell back in '89, just a few months after I was born. So it's always crazy to think that it all started here with the peaceful fall of the wall that changed Eastern Europe completely. Sometimes I do think, what would life would have been if this change would not have happened, if the Cold War would have continued, if the Soviet Union would not have dissolved. Growing up in Romania in the 90s, as a little kid, you couldn't tell much, the difference. You just know the stories that your grandparents told you, the stories that your parents told you, your cousins, and so on. But not consciously living those times. Is hard to put pieces together in order to kind of make sense of everything that took place, the hardships and so on of those times. The wall back in the day stretched around 150 kilometers, so it was quite significant, pretty much surrounding West Berlin, isolating it from the eastern part of Germany. So yeah, quite crazy to imagine that. So I did just arrive from Australia a couple hours ago, and so far I'm not partially awake, but I'm not asleep either. So it's kind of a weird transition, especially going from 41 Celsius to 2 degrees. So my hands right now are freezing. I'm not very well equipped. I do have a couple of layers on me, but that's pretty much it. And the hardest part is adjusting to the sun going down at 4:45. Coming from Australia, the sun went down at 8:45, and now 4:45. Having the sunset just seems extreme. But yeah, right now I'm just gonna show you guys as much as I can of Berlin in this little 48-hour layover that I have here, and then I'll see what else, if I can film anything else good. If not, this little quick and dirty city tour would do. A whole bunch of Trabants in this area heading towards Checkpoint Charlie. Trabant used to be one of the main German cars back in the day, and they're still quite significant nowadays. A lot of people collect them and so on. Another important square here in Berlin is the Potsdamer Platz, which is probably one of the most popular squares, places for socializing, shopping, and etc., which looks really nice though. It has museums, it has a whole bunch of I think the Sony Center is here somewhere, but not sure exactly which one is which, but just outstanding contemporary architecture. So officially, I think this is the Potsdamer Square, the actual square itself, and just the surrounding buildings that I showed you. They're just probably addendums, but we have a whole bunch of stuff here. Part of the Berlin Wall looks like it. A little Japanese pagoda type, like just walking by here near the Topodrome, which is arena for concerts and stuff like that. And notice this leftover building, part of a old building, just a facade right now, nothing in the back or anything whatsoever. So I just thought it was quite interesting. One of the many little things just sporadically surprises you here in Berlin. Quite nice, no doubt. And the hardest part adjusting after coming from the southern hemisphere in Australia is the sun goes down really early here, guys. It's barely 3:40, and then we have less than an hour before sunset time. So yeah, besides the cold, the minus degrees, the sun going down so damn early is probably the biggest annoyance factor, coming from 8:40, 8:45 in Sydney, Melbourne area, now to 4:40. It's quite the change. One thing that I kept forgetting to show you guys is the amount of bear statues in Berlin. You know, the bear is the city mascot from what I know, and yeah, they have all these bears in different positions, in different colors, you know, painted and so on. So yeah, and this is it, Checkpoint Charlie, the point where East met West, where crossings were allowed back in the day, I believe. But right now around this area, you know, upscale shops, you know, you got McDonald's, you got a whole bunch of other stuff, you know. It's crazy to think what a difference a few years makes. Well, not a few years, but you know, 30 years or so. So at the beginning of the previous clip, you know, the picture showed an Allied soldier, while this other side shows the Soviet soldier, you know, so it kind of sorts out which part is which. And you know what's more hilarious right now than having a KFC right underneath the point where it says you are leaving the American sector. So yeah, quite hilarious. So a quick little history parentheses regarding Berlin, former Berlin. You know, it used to be East Berlin, right, Soviet control, and then the west part of Berlin, which was American, French, and British control, and a huge Soviet flag right there, Soviet symbol. So again, a quick little recap: that side, the American side, the Allied side, and this is the Soviet side. So somehow earlier I missed all the Christmas lights that are still remaining here in the city of Berlin, just by the cathedral. And check out the view of the cathedral just from the river. If you go a little bit further, you can get some really nice glimpses of the bridge and also the cathedral. And with the cold just covering me up, I managed to make it to the Brandenburg Gate, which is again one of the most popular photo spots in Berlin, you know, alongside the Berlin Wall and Checkpoint Charlie. But I made it right in time for twilight. I'm gonna go on the other side and see if I can catch any shots. Guys, my hands are freezing, my face is freezing. I was not ready for minus temperatures, especially since I'm not equipped, let's put it that way. You know, most of the things that I have with me are summer clothes, and this is definitely far away from summer. So guys, if you do come to the Brandenburg Gate, definitely go at the back, you know, so you can get some nice footage with the lights and everything, because the front is completely packed, you know. And you know, this you gotta all by yourself, you gotta go in the middle of the intersection, but you can get some really nice shots from here.